I know people out there that are taking these, taking drips, vitamin drips, folks. Have you ever heard of this? So what it is if they're not dripping it into your mouth like Chinese water torture, they're hooking up an IV to your arm and dripping whatever, vitamin C or B12 or whatever. Well, ladies and gentlemen, Wellness Week Live. Hey, by the way, we're two friends talking. We're not giving you medical advice. Always check with healthcare professionals. But Magnus, our resident PhD in biochem, me, DJ Anthony. We're going to talk today about vitamin drips. Is it worth it to get hooked up IV-wise for vitamins? Now, Magnus, I know people that take this, and actually, I know people who are actually very healthy and they work out, but they want to take this. And I don't get into it with people, but my mind, I'm like, I mean, you know, you have a PhD. You tell me, if I go for a vitamin drip of whatever, B12, vitamin C, whatever the fuck it is, like, my body's, especially vitamin C, it's water soluble. I'm only going to absorb what I need, and my body's going to piss the rest of it away. So the question is, how much am I pissing away? Yeah. Nobody knows. I think it's more psychosomatic. You think you're doing well, you feel better, but do you really feel better? Magnus, what do you think?
So there's a couple. This is kind of interesting because Linus Pauling, the Nobel Prize winner, he was doing a lot about actually giving super high concentration of vitamin C. And of course, you have to go through an IV drip to do it, because if you drink it or take it through our GI tract, like you said, it's going straight through us and out. So we're not able to.
So a vitamin drip would not go through us?
Not in the same way, because we're not passing the liver and things like that. So you can actually get higher concentration of vitamins in through drips. But again, like it's basically like, why are you kind of mastering in the minors instead of mastering in the majors? With that, is like, I can probably look at your lifestyle and point out a couple or 5 things that are way more important for you, for your health, than taking IV drips. So in most of the cases, unless you're deficient in something, which you need to do blood works for and actually look what's wrong, if you have a low or high concentration of something, then
but you're mentioning, right, that taking vitamins through food or pills, it goes through the liver and whatever. But correct me if I'm wrong, but that's obvious. I don't know if it's obvious, but I mean, like, isn't that the way Mother Nature and biology wants it to go through the liver? So if I'm circumventing the liver, I could be potentially hurting myself.
Yes or no? I mean, like, coming down to it, it's like, if you're that deficient in something, yes, you might have to supplement. But I can point out then you're also probably doing something wrong with your nutrition. Right. That you actually can do better. So, I mean, it's like we said, you're trying to build a boat instead of getting strong and good wood. You're buying this like golden nails or whatever, and try to think that your boat is going to be awesome. Instead, it's just leaking and sinking. While if you would have concentrated on the basics, like you said, nutrition, sleep, physical activity, being out in the sun, and so on. Like, if you would concentrate on that, there's no need to do an IV drip. I mean, IV drips are, like, that's for, we're talking about pro athlete or someone that is sick.
Well, by the way, let me also mention this, right? These IV drip places, and again, ladies and gentlemen, knock yourself out. If it works for you, you do you. I don't, whatever. But these IV drip places are more than likely not run by doctors. They have not been FDA cleared or approved. They're supplements, and and I know that anytime you label something a supplement, you don't have to have any proof that it works. Nothing. You can say whatever you want, as long as you
testing.
Right. As long as you say supplement. And by the way, you could even say, oh, yeah, we test it. Who tests it? Who? Is it a third party, non-affiliated entity? No. It's, we tested in-house. Okay, yeah, listen, stop. And I'm all for supplements. I take supplements, but I full well know, I don't know if they work or not. They taste good. I like taking them, but I'm not sitting here like, yep, they're 100% double-blind study. No.
Yeah, but again, it's like we're coming back to this. We talked about this before. Placebo is one hell of a drug. So like just thinking that you're like doing something right and feeling better, you're probably gonna start feeling better.
Psychosomatic,
And of course, like IV drips, certain things they definitely help out with. For instance, like you said, certain water soluble things that you can actually get into your body easier, and also that you actually getting fluids into your body. You might actually just be dehydrated, and then you start feeling like, man, I'm starting to feel better. Yeah.
Right. Well, you could have just drank more and saved yourself whatever. And God, I don't even know how much money these drips cost. I'm assuming they got to be more than $50, but whatever. And anyways, but yeah, hey, if it makes you feel fine and you feel good,
Well, like I'm gonna be honest, I never had taken an IV drip that way. I mean, I had an IV drip when I got like surgery, but that's it, you know.
Well, the irony is I do the opposite. I donate blood, and donating blood is actually very healthy for your body to do if you can. And also, I like to help out altruistically. But if any any needle is going to go in, I would say donate blood. Actually, because then your body replenishes. You have new blood. So but.
Can I add something that is super, super interesting in regards of that? When you say donating blood. So, when you were using non-stick materials and things like that, they usually end up in our foods and we eat them. And there's no real way for us to get it out of our bodies, like through urine, sweat, or feces. So it gets accumulated in our bodies. The only way that they actually have figured this out is that by donating blood, you actually can reduce it out of your bloodstream. So you actually can reduce the concentration of these kind of harmful chemicals. So I think that that is something that people should know. So if you're using a lot of non-stick material, which is not the best, cast iron is actually better.
Well, by the way, I would say if you live in America, you're breathing American air that's got tons of chemicals in it too. You know. And people there might be wise asses out there that are going to say, oh, great, you're giving people your non-stick blood. You're giving people that have chemicals in your blood now to the people who need it. Well, yeah, should they just fucking die? Is that what you want?
Yeah, exactly.
You're helping them. And okay, we all have chemicals in our blood. Anyways, it's irrelevant almost, But anyways, because there's always wise asses out there. But okay, we'll let these patients fucking die from a car accident. No problem. Yeah, come on, man. Anyways.
No, I mean, we're talking about risk reward, right? If the risk of you are actually dying, you probably go to kind of the extreme things to kind of survive. So that would not be a major concern that you will die.
Yeah, and we're not giving, you're not getting deadly chemicals. It's micrograms or whatever. You breathe air in America, there's fucking chemicals in. Anyways, okay, so now I think, and to expand on that, so Magnus, do you take any vitamins or supplements or no?
I actually stopped taking a lot of supplements period lately. Couple of things that I have been taking and still take, like not as diligent as I used to before, but omega-3 fish oils, usually good, especially if you're doing a lot of physical activity and things like that. If you're feeling like you're starting to get a little bit of maybe aches and pains and things like that, fish oil, especially omega-3, actually helps reduces inflammation in your body. So that's a good thing. Protein supplements, I usually do I add plant-based protein that I'm using.
Yeah, me too.
And then magnesium and zinc are a couple of other things that I recommend people taking, especially during the summer months and your physical activity. If you want to call it a supplement, salt. Actually, I cook most of my food myself, so my food is not overfilled with a lot of salt, which a lot of pre-made and fast food foods are. Yeah. So I actually need extra salt, especially like now when it starts to get hot. I sweat, I train, so I actually usually pour a little bit of salt into either on top of my food or actually my water to absorb it better too. So What else when it comes to supplements?
I'll take actually Gatorade. Like if I know I'm going to be playing tennis,
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that.
I'll make the stipulation though, because Gatorade is, it's not God made. However, if I know that I'm going to be playing tennis for 3 or 4 hours, or I'm going to be cycling for 5 hours, like, oh, by the way, when I donated blood, was it last week? I noticed that, obviously you're donating blood. You're being drained of a lot of your, not only nutrients, but a lot of your, what do you call it? You're dehydrated,
Yeah.
So I always make sure I take a huge bottle of Gatorade, regular Gatorade with the sugar in it. And that helps me so much after donating blood. Like I feel so replenished. And so my point is, if you're doing something that's a strenuous exercise, whatever, because typically I would say don't drink Gatorade just because that's not good. But if you're really sweating your ass off and you're putting like an hour or more into athletics or the gym, or you're donating blood, 100%, you need that sugar. You need the Gatorade. It's a great supplement,
For instance, so I usually lift like weights most of it. I keep my training is usually like under an hour of like active training. So I seldom use those supplements. Other ones that are fairly good that I try that I like. It's called Element. I think it's LMTE or something like that. It's basically the same thing. It doesn't have any sugar in it, so it's basically just different types of salt and minerals.
Right. Pedialyte's like that too.
Yeah, electrolytes. So that's another thing. If you don't want to drink Gatorade, you can look into that.
Coconut water.
Yeah, coconut water is also another one, natural one that is really good, high in potassium and other salts. So magnesium too.
Yeah.
All
right. So cool, man. Yeah. So we touched on that, and so anything else?
What about you? Which supplements do you take?
Yeah. So I shouldn't say unfortunately, but yeah, as much as I like to bash supplements, I'm a sucker. I love kind of supplements. I love like buying shit, and this is going to be the thing, So, yeah, I mean, I don't always take all of these that I'm about to say, but they're in my cabinets. Okay. So I have, what do you call it? Airborne supplements, the gummies. So like when I'm feeling a little under the weather, I pop Airborne, has high dose vitamin C, B12, whatever. So that's in there, but I'm not always on that. And then I have beets, like red beets, because they're vasodilators. So I like that for training. So I'll have beet gummies, which
nitric oxide.
So the beet gummies I bought, they probably don't fucking work. But in my mind, I'm like, oh, I'm doing something, whatever. Okay, but I do eat beets a lot. So beets are good because I know that works for sure. It's natural. And then I have, I stopped doing my multivitamin because I'm like, I eat pretty well. I don't really need one. And then I have, I have my plant-based protein in the morning, the shake. And I don't know, it probably doesn't do anything either, but I like the taste of it. And I like doing shit, like mix it, whatever. And so, and then what else? I have supplements. I think that's it. Yeah, I'm not, and again, I do the plant-based powder protein every day. And I don't do the beets every day. I don't do the Ester C Airborne every day. No. So really only the plant-based protein powder I do every day because I like to have a shake in the morning. But, I swear to God, I wish I could test my blood because I bet you I'm pissing all this shit away probably, but whatever.
No, protein is at least one. It's actually the micronutrient we usually lack the most. It's hard to get, and I think that most people would actually start feeling better, and they actually prove like longevity, especially when the older we get, the more protein we should, percentage wise, we should eat in our diets. So I'm like, I always try to get people to get a decent amount of protein in their diets, depending whatever their goals are, like losing weight, gaining weight, whatever it is, it's we need the proteins. It's important, and it also helps us like actually like eating, not overeating. And that's so
satiate us.
It's so easy nowadays that we just like shove everything in, and we do like our fats and sugars. So the fast acting carbohydrates and fat, so it's so easy to eat much of it too, and overeat on it. So
man, no, I agree. Protein is satiation, whatever the hell I say that word. Anyways, but okay, so man, is anything else before we wrap up? Don't forget, folks. like and subscribe. We're closing in on 200, by the way, 200 subscribers. Now I know that's pittance compared to so many channels, but you know, Magnus and I were out here. We're grinding, and we're closing in, and we're gonna have to do like a celebration for 200. So,
if there's something that I want to add, please share this podcast with people that you think would benefit from it, and or just look at our beautiful faces and hear our nice voices all the time.
Yeah. Excellent. So, all right, Magnus, thank you for, again, as always, my guest host. And don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, check back in, like, subscribe, share with somebody you love or you hate. Magnus, as always, thank you. From Southern California, here from New Jersey. I'm going to sign us off. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.